When I say, "Hey Arnold," what do you think? Wholesome cartoon? A lighthearted show that taught you valuable life lessons? Maybe a little bit of 90s nostalgia? If so, then same. I feel you, for sure. I'm sure that's how most of us view Hey Arnold. However, what if I told you that there was one episode of Hey Arnold that was so vulgar that it got completely banned by Nickelodeon after airing just one time? Would you believe me? I'm not even sure if I would believe me, but there's actually a chance that may have been the case. I recently found myself looking deep into the dark abyss of the internet for traces of a piece of lost media. Today, we're gonna look into the lost banned episode of Hey Arnold and the weird rabbit hole of conspiracy that I found myself falling into upon researching this episode. Before I get into it, thank you very much for clicking on this video. If you like it, then go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. It'd be cool if you'd subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd appreciate your help a whole lot. Thank you. First, a little bit of background on how I got here. I had just finished the last video that I posted that was about the Fairly OddParents and gender stereotypes. I wanted to hit the ground running with my next video, so I made a video about Ed, Edd and Eddy, which was actually a really good video, but it immediately got blocked by Turner Broadcasting and my channel was given a copyright strike. I'd just like to say a big old you to Turner Broadcasting. You guys suck, and thanks for the copyright strike, you kumquats. But there I was, feeling defeated and let down by the fair use law here in the United States, so I started research for my next video, which was going to be another video covering some banned episodes. Stay tuned for that because it's gonna be coming soon. But while I was doing my research for that video, I came across something shocking. What I found was this article titled 20 Nickelodeon Episodes You Never Got to See on thegamer.com that was posted on November 16th, 2017 by one Matthew Long. I'll link it in the description box down below if you want to check it out. The listicle featured a wide variety of shows ranging from The Angry Beavers and Ren and Stimpy to Peppa Pig and The Legend of Korra, but the most surprising of all that was in the #1 spot, they listed Hey Arnold, citing an episode called The Big Bleeper. They gave a brief description saying that the episode was about when the kids at Arnold's school, PS 118, discovered cussing and took it a little overboard. They explained that Nick producers pulled the episode from TV after airing just once. They also said that the people behind Hey Arnold tried to justify it by saying that the episode was a commentary on censorship, similar to how SpongeBob did it in the episode Sailor Mouth, but apparently Nick wasn't buying it and locked the episode away for good. After reading this, I was left thoroughly intrigued, and I just had to do some more research in hopes of actually finding some trace of this episode online. I started digging for any additional info that I could find about the episode, and Google led me to the Hey Arnold Wiki on fandom.com. This wiki is where I learned that this episode would have been late in the series, being a season 6 episode. Apparently, the episode was quickly banned by executives due to the excessive use of profanity, which was seen as too extreme for Nickelodeon's target audience. Supposedly, the episode, in an uncut and uncensored state, was aired at the 2003 World Animation Festival. The wiki also stated that creator Craig Bartlett claimed the episode was intended to be some sort of clapback in response to the sudden cancellation of the Jungle movie in a recent interview with the Associated Press. However, I combed through a ton of Craig Bartlett interviews when researching for this video, and I found absolutely nothing that backed up what was said in that statement. I even went to the actual Associated Press website, and I couldn't find an interview with Craig Bartlett or anything about Hey Arnold on their site at all. So take that bit with a grain of salt. Interestingly enough though, the wiki page for this episode did give a pretty in-depth breakdown of the plot. It says that one night, while Harold is watching television, he discovers a show in which older kids are transformed into superheroes where they use vulgar language to fight crime. Amazed and shocked by how the kids are using the language, Harold decides to teach Stinky and Sid to use these words, which in all reality, I guess does kind of sound like something Harold would do, but also on that same note, the FCC doesn't allow most curse words on TV, so unless Harold's parents are subscribed to HBO, the odds of him hearing curse words on TV are little to none, but leave it to me to dig too deep into the logistics of a supposed episode of a children's show. The wiki goes on to say, the next morning, Harold, Stinky, and Sid curse loudly at each other during recess, using sentences such as, "What a fucking lovely day this is, isn't it?" And "That movie last night was a complete load of dog shit." Other kids become interested, and when Rhonda attempts to make her own comeback, Harold completely rigs it by shouting in her face, "Fuck off, you lousy shitty bitch." This causes the whole school to be involved, including Principal Warts, and Arnold definitely is not impressed. And it goes without saying that absolutely none of this sounds like anything that would actually happen in a typical episode of Hey Arnold, but that's obvious, of course. The last paragraph of the plot breakdown says the boys are suspended for pervasive profanity, but the trouble doesn't stop there. They hijack the radio station by cursing through the microphone, and they advertise their foul language by spray painting the dirty words around the town and becoming rude and offensive. Eventually, Arnold finds a way to teach them that swearing and being offensive isn't okay, and how censorship can really mess up their lives. The episode ends with the entire class getting their mouths washed out. When the camera zooms in on Arnold, we hear him say, "What the fuck have I gotten into myself?" before fading to black. Now, let's just tease for a second that this is real. Why would the producers of Hey Arnold make the characters act in such a way that was opposite of their normal mannerisms? Like, in the SpongeBob episode Sailor Mouth, SpongeBob and Patrick may have started using bad words, but they weren't straight up acting in a way that completely defies everything you know about the show. In this supposed episode, the act of the kids hijacking a radio station and spray painting around town is just so absurdly far-stretched that it makes no sense. Again, just entertaining the idea that this is real, like, why? It would make no sense in the given context of the show. Why would the producers of Hey Arnold waste their time making something like this that they knew for sure wouldn't even get past Nickelodeon for a second? And the idea of the entire class getting their mouths washed out just makes absolutely no sense. Like, what? Are they gonna have the whole class lined up as they one by one go into the nurse's office to get their mouths washed out with soap? That just sounds so fake that it's almost hilarious, honestly. And the camera zooming in on Arnold and saying, "What the fuck have I gotten into myself?" I know I keep saying this, but it all just makes no sense whatsoever. The last section of this wiki is the section titled Controversy, where we discuss the obvious controversy that would surround this episode. The wiki says that when Bartlett pitched the episode to Nickelodeon, it was immediately banned due to the extreme amount of language in the episode. He issued a rebuttal, as it was censored, claiming that the episode of SpongeBob SquarePants Sailor Mouth had the same use of language and was aired, but Nick declined as executives told Bartlett that the excessive use of such language was unacceptable for a show. It only had one airing, however, dated October 2nd, 2004, but due to the outrage it caused many parents due to its constant use of vulgar language, it was pulled from the schedule the day after. So, according to this wiki, the episode was screened at a festival in 2003, then it got the green light to be aired on Nickelodeon in 2004. However, October 2nd, 2004, the day it was claimed to have been aired, was the first ever Nickelodeon Worldwide Day of Play, which, if you didn't know, is a day that Nick would encourage children to turn off the TV and go outside to play. Nickelodeon would have nothing on air for a solid 3-hour block on that day, and after it was over, Nickelodeon would go right into airing Teen Nick, which was a nightly block of live action shows that were aimed towards teenagers. It wasn't until 2008 that they aired a cartoon block after the Worldwide Day of Play, and in that case it was actually SpongeBob. Given that information, the odds of this episode airing on that date, and the idea of it actually existing at all, are incredibly low. Also, considering that at the bottom of this wiki, the author cites their source for all this info, and of all the places they could have gotten this info, apparently it was pulled straight from their ass. But that didn't stop me. I wanted to do as much research about this as I could, so I dug a little further into the trenches and I found one other place on the internet speaking about this episode. And it's possibly the most bizarre thing I've ever stumbled upon while browsing the web. I found a website called allzaratv.com posting an article titled Stanport 273-100 Portable Camp Toilet. I'll link it in the description box down below and I'll give you a little taste of this article. Let's go ahead and start off with the first sentence, shall we? But then, Dee Dee interferes and both siblings get caught in the machine. The network released the episode online on Adult Swim in 2013. He jumps around aiming the gun and accidentally sets it off. The episode was banned for a couple of weeks following Hurricane Katrina in 2005 as it showed a city flooded with water. The rude removal system splits the two up into a sweet and polite pair and a rude and raunchy pair. Shortly after the episode aired on TV, it was pulled from regular rotation after African-American author and critic Carol Boston Weatherford accused the Pokemon of being a stereotype of African Americans. I can't have children wondering if Mighty Mouse is using the caricature of Grandpa Boris is reminiscent of stereotypical Nazi-era depictions of Jews. Abraham H. Foxman of the Anti-Defamation League said in this episode Megatron destroys a skyscraper. Really, the episode's title was a reference to the Tower of Terror theme park located at Disney's Hollywood Studios, Tokyo Disney Sea, Walt Disney Studios Park, and formerly located at Disney California Adventure Park. The article covers a wide variety of topics in a weird and confusing fashion, such as Steve Burns leaving Blue's Clues, a wicked witch flying over Sesame Street, and a Black & Decker cordless drill that comes with 30 different bits that you can try out for any project you're working on. Then, they randomly include this without any rational context. The Big Bleeper is a banned episode of Hey Arnold, but every once in a while, an episode of a kid's show gets censored by the network it airs on. On the plus side, they do become angels and go to heaven, so while the animated version of the Prophet of Islam in this episode is a heroic figure with the power of fire, the episode no longer airs in reruns and has been yanked from the online archive of fear of retribution and is one of the 3 episodes not available on Hulu. That's it. No further background or info, just one simple sentence about Hey Arnold followed by a whole bunch of random jargon, and that is literally all of the information I could find regarding this supposed piece of lost media. Personally, I'm not convinced that this episode exists. It seems to me that some random person online made all of this up and posted it in the Hey Arnold Wiki, then thegamer.com took it literally and posted about it, putting it as the #1 spot on their list of banned Nickelodeon episodes. Then this weird allzaratv.com website is just taking random headlines from across the web and compiling them like it's an article when it actually doesn't make sense at all. And that's the end of the rabbit hole. I haven't been able to find any other info about this supposedly banned episode of Hey Arnold. Some claim it to be lost media, while I personally have come to the conclusion that this episode never even existed to begin with. But what do you think? Have you heard about this episode, or am I bringing it to your attention for the first time? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your opinion, and if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.